My name's Don.
And I'm Peter.
And we are two plebs talking about... California.
This week in the DPRC.
Oh, yeah. So, rarely do I just straight up withhold a story from you and not tell you anything about what we're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what we're talking about at all today.
So we're going to get a little bit of sweet build-up here.
Okay.
So, we talked before, I think, at least in a Friday show, peripherally, about Canada and their, you have to give your kid gender reassignment surgery kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I seem to recall this was not like a terribly popular idea.
Well, not amongst us.
Well, not even amongst Canada, actually. They seem to have quite a few problems with it. And that a lot of this comes down to like, well, look, when are kids really able to have a say in what they do in the world?
Okay, maybe when they stop registering as sociopaths on the psychiatry charts?
So like your 9-year-old, long as not a sociopath, gender reassignment surgery, good.
No.
Hmm.
No, it's just an old study I remember where that typically when you evaluate children, it's not till the like teenage years that they get off of registering as a sociopath.
Okay, so at 13 years old.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember the exact thing for the chart.
Okay,
Maybe,
so 13-ish.
I'm suggesting that maybe a full psychological evaluation might be necessary before gender reassignment.
Sure, but in the meantime, right? You're 13. You want to be a chick with a dick. You can, I don't know, take estrogen, right? I mean, you gotta wind up
right
to the hacking off the bits. So at 13, you can be prescribed birth control pills effectively. Because you clearly know that you are a woman, despite having a penis. And we find this acceptable.
Not really, but...
Okay.
Really, I don't. But.
Well, how about just some therapy then, right? You just go to a therapist, and the therapist says, you're clearly a girl.
Well, I've been reading more on that particular subject in question. And apparently for gender dysphoria, there is, in fact, a test they can do. A physical one.
Yeah.
And then...
We don't do that.
And then I might argue it would be a good idea.
So maybe if there was a test of some kind.
Well, there is.
Just any kind.
There is.
Well, I think ADHD has been, or ADD even, has been instructive in how this goes. There is a test. Nobody does it.
Right.
So... this will now be a questionnaire handed out in school.
No.
Did Timmy like to play with dolls at any point, dear all of your teachers?
That's... No.
No. So if there was, I don't know, a brain chemistry test, is that what we're going with here?
Okay, the science behind it is that typically a man has a higher ratio of gray matter to white matter in the brain than a woman. If they're kind of reversed from each other. A woman has more white matter than gray matter. And people who have been found to have gender dysphoria, if they are a man, have the same ratio of brain matter of that as a woman. And that means their body is producing male hormones and their brain is not set up to receive them. And that's the problem for the dysphoria.
That's the argument we're going to... So we need an MRI.
Yes.
And then we're good.
Chances are. I mean, we
So,
prove gender dysphoria. We let the process happen because it's never going to go away.
So we're okay with 13-year-olds getting an MRI and someone going, well, within these parameters, let's say they get a good set of numbers, right? So if it's 90-10 versus 90-10 or whatever the numbers are, right? Doesn't really matter, right?
Right.
And then the kid can go get hormone treatment.
Right.
This is a good idea.
That we develop an actual standardized test based on science,
hold on.
equipment, and not my
fine.
feels.
Test is fine. Sure, whatever. But then we're giving a 13-year-old hormone replacement therapy.
Well, I mean, I kind of don't like that idea simply because it's during some of the prime formative developmental era of personality development and stuff like that. But I'm not an expert on that field. I'm probably the worst person to ask.
Hold on. Don't go deferring to some expert somewhere. Is this socially acceptable?
I don't think it's socially acceptable.
Okay. So, from there, even presuming for the sake, we're going to, for a moment, just say that it was, right? Like,
Right.
In some perfectly determinate, unicorn-filled, magical world, we knew definitively that Kid X needs hormone therapy.
Right.
If that kid is your kid, should you know about it?
Yes. Period. Because it's my kid, I should be making that decision. So that I can stand by them and help them through the process if it's necessary.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that might be you. But think about mean old Dawn, who is going to go, shut up.
Sorry.
When you turn 18, you can do whatever the fuck you want, but go fuck yourself. Until then, my roof, my rules. No, you don't get to just decide to be a girl or a boy, respectively. Mean old Dawn is going to say that. Mm-hmm. And there's no way to guarantee that the kid doesn't have to tell me, but does have to tell you. So legally speaking, should you have to know?
I think so.
Okay. So I still have to know.
Yes.
Despite that I'm going to go, you can have a goddamn doll if you want, but we're not chopping off anything. We're not filling you full of anything.
Right.
Okay. So...
Because it's still the parent's decision.
Is it?
It should be. That is a constant point that I believe we have been hammered through the show in a number of different things, and I'm going to remain consistent on it.
Well, okay. Just so you know, if you have a daughter and that daughter gets pregnant, she can get an abortion starting at like 11 or some shit and doesn't have to tell you.
I'm aware. I don't agree with that.
And tested for STDs and all kinds of stuff.
I don't agree with that.
Fair enough.
I understand that society at large does not agree with me on that.
Yes, they do, just not in California.
Just not California, okay.
So, what if I were to say that we're taking our next progressive step, and we're doing it in the way that California does? Which is to say, we just signed into law a bill that, for the moment, only applies seemingly to foster children. Does that change this dynamic at all for you?
No.
Any of the discussion we've had, should the foster parent know?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that person is still legally responsible for them. They've taken on that burden.
All right. Fair enough. So, only applies to foster children. They can and should have access to and should not have to tell foster parents or biological parents gender transition surgery starting at age 12.
No.
Oh, well, to be fair, it's mostly phrased as therapy in either psychological or hormone. But
well,
the implication...
The psychological norm is to treat it with hormone.
Well, so go see a counselor.
Right.
And get pills.
Right.
And they don't need to tell anybody about this starting at age 12.
No. That's not right. Because if we still have the laws on the books that hold parents accountable for the children's illegal actions and the parents are financially liable for it, that means the parents have a responsibility to take care of their children in all ways.
Parents aren't financially liable for it. State's paying. So, by the way, you're paying. I'm paying. Everybody's paying.
Okay.
To make sure that 12-year-olds can go, all right. I feel like
if the foster parent is just a care provider at that point in time, then it is the state's decision as to what to or not to do.
Is it? So we've moved now. So it doesn't matter.
Well,
if they know,
I still think it matters if they know, because who the fuck's going to take them to their appointments?
Well, presumably they are.
Right.
The 12-year-olds, because they are legally mandated at this point to have access to these things. Which we all know how this goes. This then subsequently means you have to be able to get to them.
Right.
Because this is California and we're progressive nut bars. And so
we've created a legal system where you have an adolescent that says, parent, you have to take me to this location, but I'm not telling you why.
No. This kid gets to take a day off school to go. Because we went over this back.
Well, that makes, to a degree, it's a doctor's appointment. That makes sense.
Does it? So a 12-year-old should have the ability to get their own doctor's note, which they don't have to furnish to a school.
No.
Because it's medical care being provided by a medical professional that they don't have to tell their parents about.
No. Adults need to be informed of this process other than the person performing the procedure.
Oh. Well, no, they don't.
I understand that California apparently has put that the way it is. I don't agree with it.
And
as with a lot of laws in California.
well, hold on, because we're not even to the good part yet.
We're
The
not.
part we all know is coming.
Okay.
And by that, I mean, Don is about to use the slippery slope fallacy.
Okay.
We started with foster kids, because who gets to object to this?
Nobody, because they don't have a parent to object for them. They can't be represented.
So who's next?
Actual kids. Or, sorry, children
Actual
who...
kids.
Sorry.
Peter comes out against foster children.
Wow, that sounded... Yes, that was a bad slip of the tongue. Children who happen to have their parents with them still.
But they don't, right? Or rather, they won't. And by the way,
Right.
not to give away too much of your personal life here, but your kids are young enough, you know we'll see this in their lifetime.
Yes.
And right on course to be around the time that they will.
I've mentioned I have kids on the show before.
Yeah, but not how old they are.
No.
But anyway, so they'll be in the age range where this will matter, guaranteeably by the time we see the law switch to encompass everyone.
Right.
And by then, this will have lived through a couple challenges in court,
Yep.
and so it'll probably live through moving to everybody's kids. Because what will the cries be? We're protecting this poor minority, but only in foster care. And by the way, before anybody tells me that's not what's going on, they're just trying to protect foster children, we did this previously, right? With the gender pronouns and people over 65, right?
Right.
And every advocate, the moment it passed and passed some court challenges and that sort of thing, came out and went, well, yeah, of course we started here, but we intend to do this everywhere.
Of course. That's
'Cause-
step one.
Obviously.
I mean, it goes back to an old joke I bring up around here. That's step one. Now we're step two.
Right.
That's the way it always goes. You do things in steps. You don't ask for the whole enchilada up front.
You got it. And by the way,
I said enchilada. I'm hungry now.
every step of the way, some jerk like me will ask this question: are we okay with this? Right? And look, I know that my point of view on this is irrelevant. Right? No one cares. But dear everyone not in California, when I say never come here, I mean never come here.
I'm sorry. If they designate somebody to give what is referred to as parental consent, meaning a foster parent, because they still have to give parental consent to do things.
Not this.
No, I'm saying this too. Just like I am also on board with it also needs to hold true with the abortions. They need to know if there's a potential of needing to help their child because of a procedure they've had.
Well, you say that, but think about all those parents who were abusive and mean and would not be supportive.
They wouldn't be foster parents, or they shouldn't be foster parents would be the correct way of saying it.
But they could be.
Yes, they can be.
And so, the kids need this protection.
Okay.
Or something.
So that means all the lefty people who are using that as an argument now have to accept, well, the criminals aren't going to follow the law. We all get to keep our guns.
No, they don't. Come on. This is the left. Consistency's not a thing.
Yeah, they don't have to follow their own arguments. I understand that.
Keep in mind, by the way, because I said that pretty quick, you are paying for this.
I understand that.
I am paying for this.
Yes, I understand that.
There doesn't seem to be any qualification that any of this be checked or be correct. It is a 12-year-old is permitted to go get this themselves, demand whatever they want, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. And the state of California needs to pay for it.
I don't agree with that.
I got sad news, buddy. There's a reason we run this particular show. Happening anyway.
I understand that. Because I'm pretty sure we, the people, don't even get a vote on it.
It's already law.
It's already law. See, because they went and did the other people's that I don't agree with. They're the representatives there. I mean, which would make you think that the rest of the state agrees with this.
It doesn't matter. It's a representative republic, effectively.
Yes, I understand. It's a representative republic, and their representatives whom they support and who go out and do their things, voted this in. So all the Democrat lefties who just let this through, when the repercussions happen, it's all your fault.
Well, why would there be repercussions?
Because
don't bother to answer that. We gotta move on. We've gone way too long.
We have? Yes, we have. God damn it. I have a response for that. Fuck it.
I know. In the world of horrible segues, I will keep going and just point them out. This is a segue.
Yes.
So, California has
subject number 2
sued the Trump administration for everything.
Yes. Trump hangs the toilet paper the wrong way. They sue.
Coming tomorrow.
Resist. Home of the resistance.
Hashtags.
Right.
Bro. However, turns out, #resist costs money.
I'm not surprised. These are all legal suits.
Yeah. About that, actually. So, somebody gathered together all of the suits that we've filed against the feds and tallied up the cost.
So, is it specifically just for the Trump administration? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Just Trump. And, however, they also tallied up the number.
Yeah.
And at the time of counting, he had been in office for 21 months, and we had filed 44 suits against the federal government.
So 2 a month? About?
A little bit to spare. But yeah.
Roughly 2 suits a month.
Right. So, and we're already scheduled for next month.
Of course.
I'm certain we'll come up with something new.
So it was only about so it was just about time that Trump launched one back at California?
Well, so they've sued, the feds have sued California all 3 times.
Right.
Sanctuary state,
yes.
clean air thing, something else.
Yes.
Right.
But and now the net neutrality thing.
That was it, yeah.
Yes. That's the latest one.
And so, I don't know, clean air, we sued them. I forget. It's hard to keep track.
Clean air, we sued them because we said, no, you, California, can't do it anymore.
Yeah. So, that doesn't really matter. The thing is, though, of these 47 lawsuits, it turns out this has cost thus far, no end in sight, but thus far, just for the first, or just for last fiscal year, $9.2 million.
That's cheap. I mean, just look at how much they waste on the fucking speed train.
So, you say that, but it turns out...
That's chump change, come on.
We spend less than $90 million on all of the legalistic expenses related to our own Department of Justice, our California's DOJ, for the whole state.
Right.
In that time. It's like $89.4 million.
Okay, how much did we spend again?
I'm sorry, $894 million, not $89.4. We spent $9.2 million suing the feds, or in lawsuits with the feds, for 1 year, right?
Okay.
And since none of these are going away anytime soon, and almost all of them are guaranteed to make it at least to the 9th, if not to SCOTUS, right? That number's only going to go up.
Right.
And since we keep filing a new one like every other day, it's going up.
Like I said, they still haven't equaled 1 day expenditure for that train.
I don't know if that's true. What is it?
$12 million a day. Remember, we've done a story on that one. $12 million a day.
Maybe. But even if it is, they're closing in and doing it quick, right? Because there's going to be another 27 months of Trump at absolute minimum. Right. And so they're going to keep suing. And that number is going to keep going up. Right? Well, I don't know if you know this, but we all pay for that, right? And don't get me wrong, there's 38.
What do you mean? We all pay for it both ways.
Oh, well, yeah. We in California pay for it twice. So for the first time ever, we're actually taking the hit for doing something stupid that we're doing, right?
Right.
But normally it works the other way around. But dear rest of the U.S., you too are paying for this, right?
Right.
Because I imagine the feds have spent a roughly equal amount of money doing this. On the other hand, their legal budget for the DOJ is like
a bit more,
an order of magnitude higher than ours. So we are going to start running into a problem, though, because what I just said there is we spend roughly like 1.1% of our legal budget for the whole state fighting Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at 21 months, if we're spending 1.1%, we keep that up, we're going to end up somewhere, even if he only has one term, about 3 or 4%, right? By the time that he's done.
Do you think so?
Well, I mean, if we keep going at the rate...
Well, because our numbers keep going up and the cases aren't settled yet, yes.
And that was to presume we would keep going at the same rate.
Right.
But we'll keep filing more suits, and the suits we have will keep dragging on.
Right.
Because we will make it to SCOTUS for probably half of these, right? And don't get me wrong, 1 or 2 of them making it up there will cut off 3 or 4. Because a lot of them come down to, does the executive branch have the power to do what the executive branch
yes, a lot of them dangle off each other.
Do.
Yes, a lot of them dangle off of each other.
However, lots of those have been made under different legal arguments, so maybe not.
Right.
And the idea seems to be, we, the state of California, will be able to tie up the federal government in court forever, and they can't possibly win. Somehow.
Okay.
Or, at least is relevantly, we'll just make it past Trump's first term, because whoever the next president is definitely won't put up with this.
So they're pulling a play out of Trump's playbook? Because apparently that's how he handles most of his legal proceedings. I'm being sued. All right, see you in 6 years. Can you afford it that long?
That's the idea, right? It is one
I thought
of
they were resisting Trump, not trying to be like him.
Well, that's how the resistance goes, right?
Right.
But anyway, so they're trying to keep him tied up in court, either to wait out his presidency so that the next POTUS just drops it all, or to just get the feds to eventually go, all right, fine, whatever, California can run the nation.
Right.
Which is just not going to happen.
No.
However, in the meantime, we here in California are going to have to pay for this. Now, don't get me wrong. 9 million, there's 38 million people in the state. It's not a lot of money. We're talking, what is that, 40 cents a piece or something like that?
Right.
However, as that number goes up, we will cross a threshold where this will no longer just be some people work overtime, right?
Right.
And this will be, we must now hire new attorneys.
Yeah.
Because there's simply going to be too much work.
Yes.
And that's just the way it is. And we're probably already pushing it. Because, by the way, 1% of all the legal funding, that's a hell of a lot to just be fighting Trump.
It is.
I mean, I don't know. 1%, it doesn't sound like much, 40 cents a person. However, what we don't do here is fire state employees, right? State unions, they're the mob.
Right.
They basically do whatever they want. And I know some state employee at some point is going to see them and be like, the state union never gets anything they ever want, and look at what happened to CalPERS. Shut up.
We have made it abundantly clear in our show that we do not appreciate unions.
No. But more importantly here, the California State Workers Unions, the state just gives in to them. Okay. Right? That's basically what happens. And I know occasionally that's not what happens. Thus the point earlier. However, this means we're going to end up with this giant legal team, which is going to exist almost solely to fight the feds.
Right.
You're paying for that.
I know.
And I say you because I'm fucking leaving. I know. Build a wall around California. I don't get to leave. Still leaving.
Right, but they need a seed of hope to stay in California, Don.
Is that the plan?
That's the plan. That's why you're not allowed to leave before they put up the wall.
And that's the end of our show for the day.
That's right. It's taco time.
However, before we go, we'd appreciate it if you shared us around.
You can find us on YouTube,
BitChute,
Facebook,
Twitter,
Patreon,
and Maker Support.
Thanks for stopping by.